Hello everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to transform one of Nathan 4071's ferro rods, this is a 1/4 inch by 4, into a keychain ferro rod, including a striker. So this is a high-speed steel striker. This one happens to be 1/16 by 1/2 by 4 1/2. I did a little pre-work because I'll explain that in a minute. And you might have seen me use some other strikers. I got these from Harbor Freight. It's called mini tool bits for metalworking lathes. This ran about $4, and you get 5 sizes in there. 1/4 inch by 2 1/2 square, the 1/16 by 1/2 by 4 1/2, this cut-off blade. You get a 3/16 by 2.5 inches, a 1/8 by 2.5, and a 1/4 by 2 1/2 round. Okay, so now these are great. I've used these for the bigger rods, and I've used these for the little takedown rod set I made. So great investment. Harbor Freight, about $4. Now, because they're high-speed steel, you just can't use a regular drill bit. It just won't go through it. Unless you're Dean and you have, from Tomoko's Enterprise, and you have a very expensive cobalt drill set that could go through this stuff like butter, you'll be in the same position I am. I purchased a couple cobalt bits, but they really do not work the way they advertise them, unless you buy a really professional set. So what I did was I took my Dremel tool, which is actually a Craftsman roto tool, and on here I have diamond grinding bits, bunch of different sizes. These round ones, then this cone-shaped one, and it took me about, I'm going to say, a good 15 minutes to grind through it. So I have myself a hole, and then I just rounded the edge off on my belt sander. So I wanted to make sure I could do that before I even started this project. So that's how I did that. Okay, now the next thing we have to be able to do is we got to drill a hole in the center of this rod. I'm expecting lots of sparks, and let's face it, it's a ferro rod. So my plan is I made a template, and I have a 7/64 hole on the top, and I have a 1/4 inch hole on the side. And how I did that was I took a piece of 1x, and I took my square. See if I can show you this. Just made a line, came over to here, made a line. Then it doesn't really matter where you go through, and I drilled that, and I drilled that. On the drill, you're going to need a drill press. I mean, you could try to do this by hand, but I don't think it'll come out very straight, and I want it to come out straight. So we got our jig, and then what we're going to do is we're going to insert the rod into the jig, and then this top hole, which is 7/64, is going to be a guide to hopefully put the hole right in the middle. And then we have an assortment of other things here. We have one of these detachable key rings that you could put, put the striker on one side and the rod on the other side. Or you could just put them on the rings, throw them on a carabiner, and then you could very easily take them off, put them on your belt loop, put them on your keychain, put them on your backpack. There's lots of versatility there. Or you could put them on here and put this on your keychain, separate it, pull it apart, and you'll have the two. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this probably in half. We don't need this full length. So I'm going to do that with a cutoff wheel on this roto tool. And then I'll be back when that's done. I'll show you what that looks like. Alright, so I have that cut off. Now I'm just going to take this to the belt sander and just clean up this edge a little bit and round it a little bit so it's not poking you. Alright, so the strike is done. That's about 2 inches. Okay, and now we'll take this and we'll get it onto one of these rings. Again, I don't know which ring I'm going to end up using. It's all going to depend if I use the carabiner or the detachable one. Ah, perfect. See now these rings, these are cheap rings. Look how that bent open. Yeah, I don't like that. Alright, we're going to nix that idea. Let's try this one. A little thinner metal, but I think it might be a little springier. Yeah, there you go. I think that'll work. Alright, so we have that. Next we're going to go over to the drill press, and I'll bring you along with this one so you can watch it go up in flames. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out where I want the hole. Give myself a little mark, pencil mark. Not sure if that shows up, but I'm going to stick this in here. A little bit more. Alright, so I got it on my mark. I'm going to take this over to the drill press and we're going to drill that hole. Alright, so now, I don't know if I mentioned it, but the reason for the jig, number one, is to get the hole perfectly centered. And number two is to hopefully starve it of oxygen, so while I'm drilling it, this doesn't burst into flames. So I'm going to go very slow, and we'll take it from there. Okay, that was pretty uneventful. I did see a little smoke come out at the end, and didn't burst into flames or anything, but we'll take it over to the table and pull that out and see what we did. Alright, hindsight, I feel this is pretty hot. I probably should have put some oil in there, but I also didn't want that to burst into flames. So let's see, take it out, hopefully it's centered. Oh yes, look at that. I'm very, very happy with that. It's exactly what I wanted. Alright, so the jig worked. Obviously I can use it again if I wanted. Let's get another one of these. And there it is. Now, like I said, now you could buy these, you know, pre-drilled ferro rods, but you won't get a good striker with it. Usually they give you, the best I could describe them, it's like a hacksaw blade. I mean, they work, but they're not going to work like this high-speed steel. So now we could take a carabiner, put them on there, and again, you could trim this, you know, to make it the same size as the striker. Like cut it in half, drill a hole on both sides, and then you'll have two of them. Which actually is not a bad idea. I may actually do that. Cut it. And then it'll be a little smaller than having that hanging. Or again, you could put these on here and then use this to pull apart. But I'll tell you what, you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to cut this in half and make it 2 inches to match this striker. So let me do that. I'm just going to use a hacksaw, go very, very slow, cut that in half, and I'll be back. I decided to show you this because I took a couple swipes at it, and it's pretty cool. It goes up. So I got it clamped in a vise with a little piece of leather to protect it, and just a regular old hacksaw. I just thought that was cool. I wanted to show you. All right, so I'll finish that, and then I'll bring you back. So I cut it down, as you saw. Now it matches that size. I seem to like the carabiner idea. I think that's great. That just go right on your belt loop, like I said, your backpack, whatever you want to do. Now, while I had the other piece, I decided to drill a hole through that to make it the spare. So check it out. Ready? Whoop! It cracked. Now, what I did was I went a little faster. I shouldn't have. Okay, I could see. I put some oil in, and I could see it burned. And then when it got towards the bottom, it didn't break through, and it snapped. So the way I did it the first time, very, very slow, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's the way to do it. I'll probably be able to salvage this, but it'll be a pretty small one. Probably end up like about an inch and 3/4. But hey, it is what it is. Live and learn. So the lesson here is when you're drilling a hole through a ferro rod, go slow, very, very slow. Okay, so now you know what's left. We got to test this out. So let me get some Maya dust, and we'll give her a whirl. All right, so I salvaged that other piece, drilled the hole very, very, very slowly. End up 1 5/8, just 3/8 shorter than I originally planned, which is fine. And I like the carabiner versus this thing, detachable one. Let's pop it off. I did check it out already. It does throw some beautiful sparks. All right, let's get this going. I usually like to place it in here, but it's so small, I'm going to try to hold it away from it and see what happens. Look at, oh man, look at that. One strike wonder. Beautiful. Nathan's rods are just, they throw lava. And also, you know, you can't forget the striker. Striker is important. You know, if you got one of those ceramic strikers from Andy, Mad Dog Survival, they work great. If you don't have one of those, you know, definitely get yourself high-speed steel. Let me move this out of the way. Whew. Alright folks, well thanks for coming along with this one. Not too expensive to do. You know, obviously you got to get the ferro rods from Nathan and the high-speed strikers. And a carabiner and a couple simple little key rings. I think that'd be a great addition to your kit. Very small, unobtrusive, and you always have something with you. So like always everyone, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate all your comments, and I appreciate all your views and your thumbs ups, and it's just awesome. And I hope you're having a great day and you're staying safe, and we'll see you on the next one.